Hey, I'm Jiréh Breon Holder, and I wrote The Space Between.
And I am Donja Love. I am the director of The Space Between, and we are here on the set of The Space Between, and we'll be asking each other a few questions.
Tony, Oh, hey Jordan. Should've known you were here. What? Y'all play video games again all night?
Yeah, actually, I was whipping his ass in Call of Duty.
My
So.
ass, nothing.
Babe, really, where are the
Like 2
clothes?
seconds, I'm really just waiting on you.
So I'll start. The first question that I have is, why did you want to tell this particular story?
I'm really interested in love and various kinds of love and various iterations of love that we haven't seen before, or I haven't seen before. And so for me, I was really interested in what does love look like between two people who identify as heterosexual.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just hoping to explore that moment in another shade of love and depict one.
Mm-hmm. And so I'll say this, what was so interesting for me is the more I read it, and the many spirited conversations I had surrounding this piece and just the nuance of it all, it made me really look at love, and all of its, not just beauty, but its muddiness and how unclear and how uncertain it can be, and what does that mean, what does that look like, in every little moment. So I always looked at it in terms of, yes, the love, and then also the uncertainty, and the word that I constantly used was the kind of grayness that that can be surrounded with love for certain individuals, especially these two.
And like the multiplicity, right?
Uh-huh.
Like the act of like removing a booger can mean a couple of different things, right? Or the act of like urinating in front of someone can like be a sexual offer, or it could be I'm
A true
so
sign of
comfortable with
intimacy,
you
right?
that I can just do it,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
there's like so greatness, and I'm adding like multiplicity, like the different kind of ways it could be expressed.
Yeah.
My turn?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
So what was your favorite part of this process?
It probably had to have been going back and forth with you in the very beginning, when you would shoot a draft and we would talk about it, and just to see the evolution of this idea to the finished product and what that was like. And I remember when it really hit me, just in terms of what you crafted, what you created. Can't remember what draft it was, but I remember I was on the train coming home from work, and when I got to the end, I had this extreme weight, right? This extreme knot in my stomach, just thinking about Jordan and the journey, though it was short, that he went on, and trying to imagine what that had to have been like to love somebody, but all of the greatness surrounding that, and like how do you navigate that space? And what does that look like? So I think, well, not I think, I know that the overall beginning, and you kind of writing and sharing these ideas and just seeing the evolution was for me the most thrilling part of the process.
You also give really good notes.
Oh, cool.
I remember the moment when we finally figured out what Nala was gonna say, and the question, like going back and forth of like, oh, she seems too hard right now. Well, now she seems dumb, but like, where do we want her to live? And when we finally cracked it, it felt so good.
What would you say is the difference between writing for film versus writing for the stage, and do you prefer one over the other?
Well, that's a good question. This is so different. And my first time, which I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to explore writing for a screen.
And you slayed.
Oh, that's such a good question. I think the biggest thing is finding the space between.
Come on.
Focusing an audience through visual versus through language. And I think that was something that I was trying to pay a lot of attention to. Like, what is on screen? What are we looking at? You know, what is a facial expression or a room telling us versus, you know, this piece could have been like a 30-page play to like really demonstrate all the subtleties that we were able to execute in 5 minutes.
Right.
Which really came full clarity for me when we were filming it, because there were so many times that we had to like do an angle, right? That we actually had to like focus the eye and really pay attention to and hang the
Right.
I like plays. I do.
I knew you were going to say that.
But also, there's something funny about hearing Robert and Michael say the same line 12 times, and they were just so great at keeping it authentic each time that I could get used to it.
Yeah.
That was fun to experience.
Yeah. And so I will say I do agree, because when I thought of this question, I tried to figure out an answer for myself, and literally what you said is what I agree with.
Yeah.
And what was so interesting is when we had table work the week before we filmed the piece, and so I remember talking to you about the moment when Tony takes a piss, right? And I was just very nervous and I was very concerned because I didn't want to perpetuate any stereotypes.
Right.
And I was fearful that he could come across as this very broken and villainized DL guy, and I did not want for that to happen at all. And so I remember we had a lot of conversations about that, and it did not hit me that was not in that moment until we did some light blocking and seeing the visual, because it literally just looked like this man, he just had this moment and he just literally had to piss. That's all it was. It was no other intention behind it, but I'm just going to piss right now. I'm not trying to be salacious. So I definitely agree that visuals help so much, and that visual really helped for that moment. And I stopped thinking about, okay, this is not where this lives.
Right.
My mind is creating this right now. This lives in this other space.
Perfect lead into my second question, actually. How did what you feel on the text, in the text, translate, differ, agree with how our actors embodied it? What we found with the actors that we selected.
So I believe so who keeps coming to my mind is Nyla, played by Regine. What she brought to the table in terms of what was on the page was this level of it felt extreme urgency and extreme passion and even frustration towards Tony, because especially in the very beginning, what I clicked with, what it read to me was this character who was very I wasn't sure where she lived, if she knew what was going on or if she was completely in the dark. But what Regine was able to bring to the table and how it differed for me was that literally was not my thought process. It was, I have to get somewhere. Yeah. Right? It was about this intention, it was about this action of I had to get somewhere. And everything else, all of the nuance, all of the subtlety, that's what I would hope as the audience bring to it. From what you laid down, what you crafted. But it literally became these actors helped me see the intentions even more, right? And what was being brought to the table for these characters. It's me.
It is your turn.
Okay, I'm like, wait, is it you?
It's
me.
No,
it's me.
It's me. It keeps my question flow so smooth.
It really did. What do you want? So I guess it's like kind of a two-parter. What do you want people to take away from this story? What do you want people to take away from your writing? It may be the same. It may be different.
Deep. From the story. I really am interested in the shades of love. I said that already. I think that sometimes we fall into expectations
Mm-hmm.
as far as how we express our love with people. We put up or we like negotiate walls that have been put up for us with like, 2 men don't do this, or like, if you love your fiance, you do this. Like these kind of ways that we put ourselves into molds. And I just am interested in what it looks like and what people take away from seeing another kind of love, seeing other explorations of that, and question that in their own lives, I guess, and what their love looks like. And for my writing, I'm just so interested in how much we can express and how much we do express with so little, especially when we get to a place of comfort. And I think because acting is performative, right, there's always a presentation of it, that sometimes subtlety or economy of language is not something that we live in or see often. And there's something really beautiful to like scandal, and they're like da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. There's something really nice about that, but I also think there's something really nice about two people looking at each other and it existing in that moment, and you getting a whole story or figuring out how to get a whole story out of the like minutia of everyday life.
So I've been blown away by your writing, in particular, obviously with the space between, and the subtlety and the nuance that each character has, right? And like what they are able to bring to the table and their most simplistic, dare I even say kind of like mundane lives.
Yeah.
And like what that looks like when you compound it with someone else who has such a simplistic life, right?
Yeah.
And what big moment can be created, what life-changing moment can be created. Because one thing that I constantly find myself thinking about, especially after, like I said, that draft that you sent when I was on the train reading, and I just felt this weight, is I kept wondering what is going to happen next with these guys, in particular Jordan, right?
Yeah.
Later on down the line, will they explore this moment again, or is that moment completely lost? And what does that look like with them?
So I want you to read my last question.
What's the end of the story between Jordan and Tony? Wow. I don't know.
What do you have to answer?
I don't. So no, but so here's the thing. So why I don't know is because I think that life is that unclear at times, and life is that messy, where to say that they will explore this again, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And to say that they won't explore this, I'm not sure either. And that for me is the uncertainty, right? And that for
Which
me
do
is
you
the
hope
greatness.
What do you hope happens?
I would hope in a perfect world that they will walk in whatever their kind of authentic self is. And it seems that leans towards, it seems that they're very free flowing with their sexuality, or at least wanted to kind of explore that. So I would hope that they do explore each other, and explore this love even more, and not be restricted and confined to what society thinks and what society says. Because I think that is a huge element within this piece, and why they don't, because they've been so trained and programmed that two men
That's a good point.
are not able to exist this way, cannot feel these feelings, so they instantly, especially Tony, shuts it down so much. But I will hope that they explore what those feelings are.
Do you think that would make Jordan happy in the long run? I'm leading because my answer to that question is I hope Jordan finds a man that makes him very happy and loves him out loud. And I don't think that that's Tony.
Really?
I don't. I think that Tony and
do you think Tony is more on the lustful side?
I think that for Tony, that love is something that he explored in that moment, and he had a choice to make, and he made a choice. He went to have dinner with his father-in-law, his future father-in-law.
But so do you think that could be because of the factors of what
Oh,
society,
absolutely.
right?
I think absolutely. But I think that for me, a happy ending looks like freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And I think loving someone who's not loving you, because Jordan is still in love with that man.
Yeah.
Once he walks out the door.
I agree.
But he's walked out the door.
I agree.
We're going into my personal life now.
Ciao. So that was 3.
Those are 3.
That was 3.
Mhm.
And we have 1 or more, but 1 for sure from here that will. Do you want to pick?
I hope it's a good one.
Go ahead.
If it's not one, just put it back in.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to go first?
I want to go first. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So this one is addressed to me, and that one is
It's
addressed
addressed
to you.
to me. Name spelled all wrong, but it's still me.
Jiréh, what are some structural challenges you faced writing the script versus writing a play?
That's a good one.
Yeah, I agree. I think it is a good question. I had to figure out what a short meant.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the first thing that I had to do. I think, I know what a 10-minute play is, and I know what a 1-act play is, I know what a full-length play is. But for a short, I think I needed to figure out what was a full world, but a short story.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
And how do I demonstrate how full these people are
Mm-hmm.
in one moment?
Right.
And the piece that you shared with me as an example called Best.
Best, yes.
Best. Amazing. Gorgeous. And truly a moment, even a shorter, even a more singular moment than the space between. And I think that was hard. I think that was really hard because it was it had to be so precise. But also something that I'm really interested in, that I've been really trying to find in my own writing. Yeah.
I agree.
Okay,
Mine. It says, Donja, were there any significant changes you made in the final script? No, I don't think I made any significant changes. I wanted to do my best, also being a writer myself, of allowing you to have your freedom, and doing whatever I needed to do to ask questions.
Yeah.
I never wanted to set any strict limitations or kind of definitive feedback. I just always wanted to make sure that I posed a question for something that I may not have understood, or even something that I was head over heels about, still asking, like, where does this stem from? What does this mean? So no, I don't think I made any final.
We were pretty on the same page for a great deal of it. I will say that there was something that we have to cut that neither of us were that happy about.
Yes.
There used to be a cat.
And so here's the thing. People were wondering about the cat, and like, what does it mean? And just knowing you, I knew that it meant something.
Yeah.
And so when you shared what it meant, I that's when I was extremely married to it. So when we had to cut, I was like, oh, damn it.
But logistics.
So that's
great shot.
That's it. Oh, we did it. Give me some love. Thank y'all.